Over the past 5 weeks, 40 of Europe's champion sportsmen have travelled to England, Sweden, Belgium and Holland to meet in direct competition. Now the 9 men who've reached the final come here to Rotterdam to complete our search for the superstar of Europe. From Great Britain, Olympic gold medalist athlete David Hemery, together with England and Newcastle United's dynamic soccer striker Macdonald. The world record holder in the 110 metres hurdles, France's Drut. Top Grand Prix motor racing driver from Germany, Jochen. Triple gold medalist in the Winter Olympics at Sapporo and world record holder, the big blonde Dutchman, Schenk. From Sweden, one of the world's greatest pole vaulters, Kjell Isaksson. Mariano Haro, the little man from Spain and the top track and cross-country runner. From Belgium, we have Alfons Brijdenbach, the youngest competitor of all, but the man rated as one of the biggest rivals to David Jenkins in the Olympic 400 metres. And the second Dutchman in the final, again from the sport of ice speed skating, Kuipers, the reigning champion of the world. Well, our 9 finalists consists of 1 motor racing driver, 1 footballer, 2 ice speed skating champions and 5 athletes. They all choose 8 out of the 10 superstar events. And here in Rotterdam, in the final, those 5 athletes are going to be allowed to take part in the athletics events. That's the 100 metres and the 600 metre steeplechase. They've been given the chance. Normally, of course, they're barred, being specialists, like all other competitors are barred from their own events. But they have been given the chance to run. They're told they will be handicapped. And with the exception of the Frenchman Drut, the athletes are going to accept the challenge to try and beat the handicap and beat their other competitors.
And it's a cold, wet morning. This man, Kjell Isaksson, one of the 2 scratch men in the race. He and David Hemery start on the 100-metre start line. This man, as well as the others, Macdonald, has a 4-metre advantage. Being a non-athlete, he's going to be tough to catch from there, I must say, after his sprinting and sweep. There's little Mariano Haro. He's a 10,000-metre man. He needs all the help he can get, and one wonders how David Hemery feels.
100 metres looks a long way from here.
Kuipers is up front too. The ice speed skater, along with fellow Dutchman, big-eyed Schenk. Drut out of this race, along with Alfons Brijdenbach and Jochen. Macdonald, who's nursing a bit of a pulled muscle there, 4 yards clear. And the line-up with Schenk on the far side, then Kuipers, Hemery back, Haro, Macdonald and Isaksson way back.
And they get away this time. And they're chasing Macdonald all the way. And Hemery's got to do some running, but Macdonald's well clear at the moment. There's no way they're going to catch him, and he'll be at least 4 metres clear at the finish. Hemery gets second, Isaksson third, Schenk is fourth, but he held his form. Macdonald, the favourite, was at least 4 metres clear and would have beaten them off scratch.
First points to Great Britain and Macdonald. There they are, 10 for him, 7 for Hemery, 4 to Isaksson and 2 for Schenk.
Could you put your finger on one man, say this is the one man I'm really concerned about?
Me. I'm concerned about me, Dave.
Macdonald's rivals have other ideas. Jochen.
Well, I would say Isaksson.
Kuipers.
David Hemery.
Kjell Isaksson.
I think Drut will be very dangerous, and Hemery.
Drut.
I think Kjell Isaksson.
Alfons Brijdenbach.
First of all for Kjell Isaksson, and in the second place David Hemery.
Schenk.
I think it will go between Maas and Hemery and Isaksson.
David Hemery.
I think Kjell Isaksson of Sweden.
Mariano Haro.
For me, todos.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Well, I think you'll agree those forecasts are a long way from just wild guesses. They've been worked out, calculated, even computed. I can tell you, for example, that David Hemery has done nothing in the last week except walk around looking at sheets of paper, working out how fast he's going to have to run, how much weight he's going to have to lift, what sort of performance he's going to have to put up in the gymnasium test, and what his opponents might or might not do. The serious approach to this European Superstars final is very evident. And I think the title of European Superstar is as important, if not more, than the £5,000 that goes with it. So Macdonald's got the first event and the first 10 points in the bag for him. And with that, we come inside this Ahoy Sports Complex for event number 2. And that's going to be the cycle racing. Not just an 800-metre cycle race, but for the first time in Superstars, indoor cycle racing on the banked wooden track with those frighteningly steep bends at each end.
They've got to go around it 4 times. There are 4 heats altogether. The first 2 races, well, they went really as expected. David Hemery beating Mariano Haro, and Harm Kuipers an easy win over Fons Brijdenbach. The tournament referee here is the double Olympic gold medalist at figure skating back in the early 50s. That's Dick Button. He's now awaiting the 3rd heat, and that'll bring onto the track Schenk, looking rather happy about it all so far. A rare smile from him. Cycling champion in his Dutch heat, and he's drawn here against Britain's Malcolm Macdonald. Pursuit racing. The riders on opposite sides of the track.
De vlag aan de overzijde. De vlag aan deze zijde. Riders, attention.
So they're on opposite side of the track. They're against the clock. There's Malcolm Macdonald, and he's got to try and catch up Schenk. That's the whole basis of pursuit racing. Malcolm Macdonald going away quite well. Not too happy about this event. He's watched the practice where some of the riders have gone high on the bends, which is what you mustn't do. Schenk powering well, big strong legs, and Schenk at the moment just a little bit up. You can see the difference as they come to their start and finish lines, and Macdonald has got to find some power. He's going a little high. He mustn't really go as high as that, because if you go high, you go further. And Schenk coming in there now in the white shorts, catching up Macdonald. Schenk is really beginning to catch Macdonald. You can see the difference as Macdonald crosses just out of picture, and Schenk is right behind him. So Macdonald has got to find something in the next lap and a bit to try and pull up on Schenk. Remember, it's the fastest men overall who make the final, and Schenk is going very well indeed. Schenk, a cycling champion in his own heat, and he's got Macdonald here. Macdonald really isn't going to pull out too much to stop this man. Look at the gap. They were half a lap apart at the start, and Schenk now coming up. When he crosses this line, he'll get a gun for the winner there, and that's 1 minute 3.93 seconds. Macdonald coasts over to his line, but he knows he's too slow, and at the moment it's Schenk and Kuipers from heat 2, the 2 fastest men, and on the line now Jochen for heat 4. Second in his bike race in the Swedish heat. Oh, and Guy Drut has just fallen off. He went a little bit high up the banking coming into the start line, and he's fallen off, but he's okay. Jochen then against Guy Drut.
De vlag aan deze zijde.
Drut, white shirt.
Riders, attention.
Drut nearest us, over on the far side. the motor racing top superstar. Drut, the French hurdler. That's and they've got to get inside 1 minute 3.93 to make the final. At the moment, the 2 fastest men, Schenk and Kuipers. Drut had a good start. He started well. was a little bit slow to start, and Drut going well in this early stage of the race, but over on the far side is picked up. Good acceleration. He started badly, but suddenly found the legs, and is riding well. This is fast. Ahead at the moment, just by about a yard or 2, and Drut has dropped it back after the good start. Here comes Drut over his line now. That's about the halfway mark, and just over on the far side is ahead. Going into the bend, and Drut will be later into the bend. This is coming up to it now, and he's up on Guy Drut. is up on Guy Drut, and Guy Drut, who had a good start, dropped away slightly, is behind at the moment now. Little way to go. Out goes the marker for the last lap, and Mass's legs have stopped. Mass's legs have slowed down, and Mass has blown it. Mass has completely blown it now, and Drut must see his chance, and Drut has picked up. Just see him crossing that back line, and Drut has seen the chance. It's all gone, and in comes Drut. A good finish. That's riding well, and it's Drut who wins from Jochen, but he's not quick enough. He won't make the final. Drut, a good finish. Shaking his head there. All right for 3 laps, and suddenly it all went from him on that last lap, and it's Drut who beats but they won't make the final. It's still going to be Schenk and Kuipers, and Hemery will now ride off to the 3rd and 4th place with Guy Drut. So David Hemery in the all-white this side against Guy Drut, still reflecting from the fact that he let the time drop a little bit on the 2nd and 3rd laps. If he'd powered home like he did in the 4th lap, he might have made the final. Now he's racing for the 3rd and 4th places with David Hemery. Hemery in all-white. Hemery, who's lived and died on a bike in previous Superstars heats. He got the gear changes all wrong in some of the heats. Then he did well in the Aldershot heat. And now up against Guy Drut, and Hemery has got him going. It's Hemery in the lead at the moment. Drut looking across the other side of the track because you can see Hemery, and Hemery is over his line first. So Hemery is up on the clock at the moment. Opposite sides of the track. You just have to try and catch your other man up, and Drut there is being caught by Hemery. Drut going a little slowly. I think he's going to have to settle for 4th place because he can see Hemery in his sights. Just about 1 and a bit laps. There'll be a lap as he crosses this line now. He's got 1 lap to go now. And you can see the difference. He's well up. He's about a 1/4 lap up on Guy Drut. and Hemery is going to get useful points from this. This is going to be a third place for David Hemery. He's got half a lap to go now. The white figure over on the far side. Drew crosses his line. Hemery coming in now to his line. The gun at this stage. And the gun for Hemery, which means he's beaten Guy Drew, and Hemery wins. So the 10 points and the 7 points are going to be decided by the best two cyclists. Hemery having picked up the 4 points for third place. The 2 points will go to Guy Drew. But the best two cyclists from the heat, as that result is confirmed on the scoreboard, and this Dutch crowd who really love their cycling, waiting for the two home men, Harm Kuipers, the man who's ridden a bike so well apart from being a great speed skater, and the man he's trying to take over from as the greatest speed skater, Schenk. Two Dutchmen on their home ground in the cycling final.
Riders, attention!
Schenk. And I wonder if the crowd are going to be behind him as much as they are behind Harm Kuipers. They've seen Kuipers ride before, and Kuipers really produced some sparkling cycling racing in his heat. He had an easy heat draw, and Schenk has got an awful lot to do to try and beat him. Kuipers, who pulled out a bit of psychology in the earlier heats by riding very high on the bends, he frightened people like Macdonald to death. And he said, if I've got to do that, I'll never compete. But here he is riding properly on the black line against Schenk. And there's Schenk crossing the line, and Kuipers is not far behind him already. Kuipers really going quickly. And it's going to be Kuipers unless Schenk here can find something extra special in the last couple of laps. This is a good race, this is a good final. And this crowd really loving this. 5,000 people packed into the Hoy Stadium to see their favourite sport of cycling. And they couldn't wish for anything better than two home men, but there's the gap. Kuipers is behind, but of course up on the clock. Crossing that line there, and Schenk is only just into the bend, so it's Kuipers at the moment. And unless he falls off and does something ridiculous, but with his cycling experience, that will never happen. It's going to be Kuipers, and it's there. No trouble at all for Harm Kuipers. Good bike racing, a good bike racing final. Kuipers was the favourite. He did everything we expected from him. And so Harm Kuipers 10 points, Schenk is 7, Hemery 4, Drew 2, and Haro 1 for the fastest non-qualifier. Macdonald completely out of it. And with that, Kuipers and Hemery lead the table, 11 points each. Macdonald, Schenk, Isaksson, and then Drew.
And so to the final of the gymnasium tests. And we've always felt that this was probably the most exacting discipline of all 10. And for the first time ever, we've achieved what has always been an ambition of mine, that is, that every finalist takes part in the gymnasium. All 9 go. Well, the medicine ball has already taken place, and it was a surprise win for Macdonald over Guy Drew, with Isaksson there in third place. But his strength still to come. Kuipers, winner of the cycling, wondering what he has to do to get points in this tough events. And already on the parallel bars, Jochen Mass on a very high score of 28 so far. Brijdenbach's gone with 23, and Drew had 28. So Mass is now in the lead. Trying to look casual about it all. But again, pulling out all the stops. .31 is the best he's ever scored at this. 3:30, so he's improved. No, he says. Now can he? Well, a personal best for Mass, and he leads in the dips. 33 to beat from Jochen Mass. Remember, Drew at 28, Brijdenbach 23. Watching every move of the bars. Oh, he's going to finish on 11. Doesn't match Haro, and doesn't get a lot of sympathy from this crowd. So Schenk goes out on 11. Mass must be wondering what Hemery can do. Hemery last to go. Here's Harm Kuipers, winner of the cycling. 33 to beat Harm Kuipers' previous best, 25. Look at those massive thighs. His heavy legs are not going to help him in this event. And it would help if he could arrest that swing of the legs. He needs to get a rhythm going. 17 matches. Haro goes ahead of him. Now chasing Brijdenbach on 23. This is the medical student who may miss out in Innsbruck for the Olympic Games to finish his final exams.
21, 22.
He really does find a bit extra, this man. He looks finished when he's done about 12 and he goes on, doubles his score and still goes on. 26, just short of Drut and certainly short of Maas. And here's Malcolm Macdonald, who confesses to being very apprehensive about this. Never mind Kuipers' big thighs, he says, what about mine? Macdonald's previous best score at this, only 14. Well, better than our Schenk. Can he lock him? The elbows. Come on, Malcolm. No, finishes there on 15. It's better than Schenk, but he's still down on little Mariano Haro. There's the man in the lead, but the next two men to come, two gymnasium giants, as it were. Kjell Isaksson, chasing a score of 33. Now, he has no trouble with his legs. In fact, he's got quite a unique style in this. He not only dips, but he swings forward so that he gets a sort of pendulum-like action as his legs rock back. Very much the same way as Drut does it. But they're good dips, 90 degrees. 18. There's 20. 25. In second place now, still chasing 33. Going well and taking the lead. 35 for Isaksson. Is it? 36 is going to be given, not that last one, but 36 for Kjell Isaksson. Taken the lead, only one man to follow, the incomparable David Hemery. Tough task this for Hemery because his previous best is 10 down on that, 26. Like Isaksson, he's trained for this, like most of these superstars finalists. They've all trained. But that's a massive score to follow. Going off like a rocket, as usual. 15. There's 20. He's matched his previous best. Maas is watching, Isaksson's watching. 28. 3 to close the gap on Jochen Mass. Here's Mass. Oh, he's not being given that. That's on 33, the score he had to do to match Mass. Got it now. 34.
How many?
2 to go, and he doesn't know.
How many?
How many he needs to know. He's got 2 to go. Matching Isaksson now, Hemery. 1 more. That's it. Hemery, the superb competitor. Isaksson, the first to congratulate him. Last to go, knew exactly what he had to do and measured that. Incredible performance there from those top 3, all finding lifetime best. And it's a pretty exhausted David Hemery and company that go over to squat thrusts. Those tired arms have got to support them for 60 seconds. The rules, quite clear. Hands ahead of that front white line, feet beyond the rear white line. And look for the judges this time, who are carefully at the side of the competitor so that they can see whether the knees are up to the elbows and back again. Schenk going well.
15.
Here's Mass going well too. Brijdenbach. Little Mariano Haro taking an extra long drive at it. There's Isaksson on the end. Isaksson, Schenk on this end.
30.
Isaksson still pumping away. Hemery is going quite quickly though. Haro's slowing down because he's got an extra long drive. Brijdenbach tiring. Jochen Mass driving well. Drew going well. There's Kuipers. Schenk tiring. Schenk is definitely tiring. Macdonald going well.
55.
They're nearly there. Oh, relief at last. There's Schenk. There's Kuipers. David. There's Brijdenbach. And this is Bonds Brijdenbach, the quarter miler. And they wait for their score. Schenk.
59.
59.
Number 2, Kuipers.
58. That's not as well as he did last time. He did 71.
Number 3,
Drew.
55.
Drew, not as good as he did last time.
Number
63
4,
last time. David Hemery.
78.
78. A magnificent score from Hemery.
Number
7
5,
better than last time.
Jochen Maas. 68.
68 in second place at the moment.
Number 6, Alfons Brijdenbach. 54.
54. He's always found this exercise tough.
Number 7, Macdonald. 66.
66, good enough to put him in third place at the moment.
Mariano Haro. 44.
44, that long drive defeating him. Really
Number
couldn't
9,
keep his rhythm
Kjell
going. Now it's all
Isaksson.
about Isaksson.
69.
69 in second place, but his scores overall were pretty impressive in the gymnasium and gave him the 10 points clear. David Hemery in second, Jochen Mass third.
All right. Kjell, congratulations on that. Was that a surprise win for you in the gym, or is this
No, it was a big surprise. I was counting on third place, but the medicine ball helped me.
But it was a pretty tough competition throughout. It's never been tougher.
Oh yeah, everything is tough.
But this must, being a pole vaulter and being an all-round athlete, this must help in a test of this sort.
I think most pole vaulters will be good in this event.
But David Hemery gave you a pretty tough time. Very close.
So I'm glad I did 69 on the last thing here.
On the squat thrust.
Yeah.
I think it's these events where you get to know these competitors. They get to know themselves too. They see themselves in splendid isolation, and it's quite a scrutiny.
I don't know. Kjell Isaksson set a tremendous standard, and I didn't know if I would reach him because I think my previous best was 26, and I had to wait on the bar and pushing one more each time. And when at about 31, the referee said, "No, just not that one allowed." I thought that was the end, but I was lucky that I didn't collapse until 37. Then no more.
Actually, his secret is, you know, that he's got such big feet. He took his shoes off this time and he did another dozen.
Thanks a lot.
And that doesn't put Hemery back on top as the outright leader. 4 points clear of Isaksson. Macdonald hanging on to third place. Brijdenbach, the only man yet to score, but he's one of 6 in the next event here in the pool, the swimming.
And it's one length of this 50-metre pool. And we've got 6 competitors going. There's Haro, Kuipers and David Hemery. Brijdenbach walking across picture. The bronze figure of Jochen Mass, surely the favourite after his splendid swim. Jochen Mass, suntanned, and the duo features there of Kjell Isaksson. So, left to right, it's Isaksson, Mass. There's Jochen Mass, looking very fit and bronzed. Drut, the tall, leaner figure, then Brijdenbach, Haro, Kuipers, David Hemery on the far side. Good start. Jochen Mass in the middle, who swam so well. Mass first in Sweden and the favourite for this, but he's being held by David Hemery. About a yard in it. It's Jochen Mass this side, David Hemery on the far side. David Hemery dropping back about a yard. Mass is having a good swim. Isaksson's coming up to third on the lane nearest to us, just off the picture. That's going to be the 1, 2, 3. It's Mass in the middle, Hemery on the far side, Isaksson this side. Mass gets there a yard clear of Hemery, Hemery a yard clear of Isaksson. That will be the 1, 2, 3 in the 50-metre swim. The rest struggling for places, but a fine swim by Jochen Mass. That's the winner. David Hemery will be happy with second place. He knew that Mass was quite some swimmer. There's the points. Jochen Mass 10, Hemery 7, Isaksson 4, Haro, Kuipers 2.
Jochen, congratulations. Good swim. You must be very happy with that.
Well, yes, I am, of course, sure. I didn't expect it, actually, because, you know, sitting in the plane all night, I hardly slept. Slept for about 3 hours.
Yeah. But this is coming over from, you've been where, in South Africa?
Yeah, I came from Johannesburg. But, of course, then again, it helps if you come from a high altitude, like 6,000 feet. Yeah. If you come down to sea level, of course, it's basically better, I think.
Obviously, from the heats, you knew that you were one of the best swimmers in Superstars. I mean, was this the big event you were going for more than any other?
Yes, I should think so. I think I had more advantages here than elsewhere.
You swam faster here than you did in your heat. I think you were 0.3 of a second faster over 50 metres. Were you conscious of David Hemery very close to you? I think he was ahead of you at the halfway stage.
Was he? Yeah. I didn't realise. No, I didn't see him at all.
Did you see anybody at all in the race?
Yeah, well, I saw the guy next to me, but he dropped back, so I couldn't see the other end, no.
10 points for swimming, you're very happy with that?
Yes, I am, sure. Thank you.
Happy that he's moved up 3 places. Hemery on top, 7 points clear of Isaksson. Macdonald has slipped back. Drut is finding it hard going. For young Brijdenbach, it's becoming a nightmare. And 5 clay discs, the target in the pistol shooting. They're using air pistols from about 25 feet away, and for some it was rather a difficult event. Isaksson, who'd won this in the last heat 2 weeks ago, he could hit only 2 discs in 20 shots. Drut there, like Haro, missed them all. And Brijdenbach, well, he knew his 3 hits once again wouldn't be good enough when he saw the man who'd won the shooting in Sweden, Britain's Macdonald. He's had 3 down for 11 points each. He's got 4 shots left. And, of course, there are bonus points for every shot out of the 20 you don't lose. And that is just on the lip of the disc. It'll be looked at and inspected by the judges. But, in fact, they give it to him. It's the one on the bottom right. So Macdonald had just 1 disc left to break and 3 shots left. 11 points for every disc you break and bonus points for the shots you don't use. Macdonald in a good position with that, and he'll have that one done as well. They'll give him that one, and it's also against the clock.
Macdonald, 3 minutes, 49 seconds, 61 points.
So 61 points in 3 minutes 49 seconds. Mass was the next to go. He broke 4 discs with 16 shots, and he needed this one to go ahead of Macdonald. He didn't get it. That's a miss over on that one on the bottom right. So with his next shot, as he takes a closer look at it, a hit here would put him equal to Macdonald. This was Mass's 18th shot. Yes, and he got it, and he was faster on the clock. So it was Mass who went ahead in the shooting with just Schenk left. Now, Schenk had done well. He'd got 4 discs down in 11 shots, missed a couple more, and this was his 14th. Just 1 disc left to break. A nip on the top, surely, given to Schenk. So in 14 shots, Schenk gets a smile and 10 points in the pistol shooting. Now, Hemery didn't take part, so that 5th place and 1 point for Isaksson for Hemery was a good result. And that win, Schenk's first, will bring him right up the table. There it is, halfway through the Superstars final. Hemery 4 points ahead of the new 2nd place man, Jochen Mass. Isaksson and Schenk are dead level. it's those top four that face this rather bleak outlook for the next set of points. They've made the final of the rowing on the Zyder Park Lake, one of only 2 events outside the warmth of the Ahoy Centre. Now, Macdonald was right out of it in the heat, so it's Schenk, the man who won the second heat and has learned quite a lot since Enschede. David Hemery is also there with Schenk in the final. He won, of course, the rowing in Aldershot and was second to Schenk in the heats here. Then we'll have Jochen Mass, who was runner-up in the boats in Sweden. There's Mass. He's made this final with a second place in today's heats to Kjell Isaksson, who by far the fastest man over this 150-metre course so far. Isaksson will be on the far side. Event 6, the final. So as we look across the lake, very cold and raining, it's Schenk, then Hemery, then Mass, then Isaksson, the top 4 overall contending this rowing final. Jochen Mass. Look for Isaksson, who's right over on the far side, the fastest man in the heats and the man who won, and Hemery's in awful trouble already. Isaksson is right over on the far side, there he is. The cyclist getting a good view of him from the opposite bank, and it's Mass pulling up into second place at the moment, and Hemery is in awful trouble. Hemery had a bad start, couldn't get it right at all, and it's Isaksson pulling away there to the finish. Schenk in the lane nearest us is going to be second. Then it's going to be Jochen Mass just coming up in the picture there, the hooded Schenk in the tracksuit top. Then Jochen Mass, and we look back down the course for poor David Hemery, an event in which he wasn't really looking forward to. All his fears, in fact, coming good or coming bad for Hemery, because he pulls in, he has to finish to get the points for 4th place. But that, a bad one for David Hemery, another good one for Kjell Isaksson. So we'll check on the points for the rowing, the ones that David Hemery won't really want to have a look at. And it's Isaksson's second win. He's won the gymnasium and now won the rowing with Schenk, Mass, Hemery and Drut, the fastest of the non-qualifiers for the rowing final.
And that puts Isaksson on the top for the very first time. Just 2 points ahead of David Hemery. Schenk in 3rd, Mass 1 point behind him in 4th place.
So Isaksson is being beaten more than he was in his heat, but here he's got a chance to improve because he's up against Brijdenbach, the young Belgian 400-metre champion, who had that good tennis final against the controversial Jochen Barrington 2 weeks ago. Isaksson in the final of the tennis with Brijdenbach, but Isaksson is down at the moment 10-13. First man to reach 15 points. Brijdenbach is serving here. Isaksson nearest us. They're playing very cagey in this electric atmosphere of the Ahoy Stadium. Each man waiting for the other to make a mistake, just lipped over the top of the net. Isaksson point.
13-11.
Brijdenbach, second of his 2 serves to come. They serve twice each. The first man to reach 15 points. Brijdenbach leading 13-11. Belgium desperate for points. He's got only 2 so far in 6 events. Good rally this. Oh, and Isaksson should have moved in to kill that, and he made his mistake. He should have taken on the smash, put it into the net. 18-stroke rally.
11-14.
11-14. Isaksson serving. Match point against him. Who's going to make the first mistake? There we are, and it's Isaksson. They really should have been going for winners, and he knows he did wrong. So it's Brijdenbach. Brijdenbach has got a victory. Young Fons Brijdenbach, not terribly happy at the moment in this tournament, wins the tennis, and Isaksson is beaten again. So Brijdenbach 10 points, Isaksson 7. Hemery and Mass, the beaten semi-finalists, playing off, and Hemery winning there to get 4 points.
And those points for Kjell Isaksson push him further ahead now. Isaksson with 36, David Hemery 31, Jochen Mass 27, Schenk just behind with 26.
which means 3 events left. And here's Ilya Pantelic, the Yugoslavian international goalkeeper, who now plays for a French team in Paris. Leo van der Croft of FIFA, all ready for the penalty shots. The scores at the moment: Haro 0, Drut and Maas 1 each, and now Ard Schenk. Remember the way he powered all 5 past the keeper, and then and he's away again. The power of Ard Schenk with a football is quite magic to watch. 4 more shots left for Schenk. This Dutch crowd loving this. The goalkeeper Pantelic hating it. He nearly took the keeper with him that time. But then Schenk put the next 2 wide. Pantelic was grateful. Schenk had 3 out of 5.
Alfons
and
Brijdenbach.
on the spot now, Alfons Brijdenbach, top penalty taker in Aldershot with 4. Here with his first attempt. Has to beat 3 by Ard Schenk to win. Good one to start with. Brijdenbach then missed the next 2. That's a good one. So Brijdenbach with 1 shot left. He needs this to beat Pantelic and tie with Ard Schenk. He ties with him. There'll be a kickoff. Oh, that's a good goal. Beautiful goal by Brijdenbach. He knew he had a chance to beat Schenk completely, but he's gone into a tie situation, and there's also a tie situation for 3rd and 4th place between Guy Drut and Jochen Maas. Sudden death kickoff. Guy Drut first. Good goal. Good goal. So Drut has got a goal, and Maas now has to score to stay in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Oh, tipped over the top by Pantelic. Maas not the greatest footballer, so he goes 4th. Drut is 3rd, and now Schenk and Brijdenbach for 1st and 2nd place. Schenk really can't believe that he put 2 wide of this goalkeeper after the power he can produce with a football. Oh, he liked that. So Schenk still in, Brijdenbach a goal to stay in. Oh, and Pantelic saves it with his foot, and Brijdenbach once again has gone out at the vital moment. So Schenk wins the penalty shooting. Yet again, like he did in the heats, he's got the maximum points. Brijdenbach will be 2nd. So for event 8, Schenk 10 points. Brijdenbach 7, Drut, Maas, and then Haro, the only other competitor, didn't score but picked up a point. So after 8 events, Isaksson is caught by Schenk, 36 each. Hemery 3rd, Maas 4th. Brijdenbach and Macdonald could get into the 4 money places, but it's going to take a lot of power here to do it.
Mariano Haro saving himself for the final event, the steeplechase, where he must hope for points there. And for Harm Kuipers, on this rising bar, it means he has to join the competition again. 82.5 kilograms. He's seen Jochen Maas lift this. This is his 3rd attempt. Oh, cheered, lifted by the crowd, but couldn't quite make it. So Kuipers out of the competition.
Macdonald.
Malcolm Macdonald. He's lifted 75 kilograms and looked pretty comfortable. Malcolm, who does weight training for soccer and only does weightlifting in a competition like this, now got 85 kilograms. Malcolm weighs 13 stone 2. He doesn't look it, but he's pretty solid.
Good lift.
And that's a concern to him because with little Isaksson still in, Malcolm has to outlift him by a considerable amount. Here's Jochen Maas. His 3rd attempt at 85 kilograms, which is 187 pounds, quite a bit over his own body weight, which is 170 pounds. Had a tough time on the first 2, but it's a good clean. No, is he going to get it? Can he lock his elbows? He's wandering about all over the stage. He's got to remain still. So Jochen Maas retires from the competition. And the 2 British boys must be wondering what they can do. The challenge still on with Drut and with this man particularly. He's now attempting to lift over 200 pounds. It's 92.5 kilograms. This is his first attempt. That's 50 pounds over his own body weight. And it flies up.
Good lift.
So Isaksson looking better and better as the competition goes on.
David Hemery.
David Hemery knows that even he's giving away body weight to Isaksson. Same weight, 92.5. Drew still on in the competition. Macdonald still in. Quite sharp from David. It's there.
Good lift.
Locked out. So David Hemery
95.
fighting all the way. Now for Malcolm Macdonald. 95 kilograms now on the bar, 209 pounds. Drew and Isaksson have already made this, and Malcolm Macdonald makes it. So now David Hemery
95.
under a good deal of pressure. 3 men through, and here he is attempting for the 3rd time 95 kilograms, 209 pounds. He's still ahead of Macdonald and Drew if he makes it. But he's still ahead of them if he doesn't make it. He's got to wait and see what they finish up with, just on the mechanics of that O'Carroll formula. But it'll make it tougher for them if he can make it. 2 bites at it. Oh, and can't quite get his body weight underneath.
Lift.
So David Hemery goes out of the competition. He must wait to see what the others can do. He's ahead of 2 of them at the moment. Drew has pushed the bar up a little bit in order to try and stay ahead. It's 97.5, 215 pounds. He just makes it.
Good lift.
We've seen Drew better than this. He really struggled with that. Isaksson knows that Drew is very tough at weightlifting, and so he'll be wondering just how difficult Drew found that last weight. Here's Isaksson attempting the same weight. Much slighter man. And way ahead of the field on the O'Carroll formula. Cleans it, but looked to be in some danger. No, anything he can get to his shoulders, he can throw up. He winces a little bit. There's Malcolm Macdonald. They're all working out what they've got to do. They're all wearing lifting belts now to protect the lower spine. This is... I think Drew's withdrawn from the competition. Yes, Guy Drew, never really happy, has pulled out. He must wait because he knows he can't beat Isaksson. 100 kilograms on the bar, 70 pounds over and above his own body weight. That's 200 weight. Dick Button, suitably impressed. Oh, no, first failure, really, for Isaksson. Now for Malcolm Macdonald. His 3rd attempt just to stay alive in the competition and attempting the same 220 pounds. 100 kilograms. Macdonald has got to do this and more if he hopes to get ahead of the lighter-bodied men, Hemery and Isaksson. If he fails, well, he relieves the burden for Isaksson. Oh, not quite. Gallant attempt from Malcolm Macdonald, but it's all over, really. Isaksson wins by virtue of lifting greater poundage and on the O'Carroll formula, and that could mean that Malcolm Macdonald is reduced, yes, there to 4th place. Drew gets 2nd, David Hemery in 3rd.
Malcolm, David, the pair of you lifting a lifetime best. Pretty tough of Kjell Isaksson, though. Really good lifting.
You have to admire him.
He's a strong little son, isn't he? You know, it doesn't have a powerful frame at all, but he's got incredible strength, and he's really surprised me.
I've got the feeling, I wonder if you agree with me, that now the money's up and it's the championship, there's a little edge come into it that wasn't there before.
I think that's true. I feel as though the bigger the competition has got, the more intense, and it's become another international sporting event.
One more victory for Hemery will mean the £3,000 Superstars runner-up position. Schenk can rob Isaksson of the title, and it's on the handicap.
Well, the final event, as ever, is the steeplechase. 600 metres, we've adapted it from track and field athletics, but we're indoors, and that means a difference, because normally in track and field there is no water jump, but here for Superstars we've created one. Exactly the same as in track and field outdoors. Here's the 3-foot hurdle, 2'6" of water, 12 feet 6 across that they've got to make it, and with everything depending on this final event, 1st, 2nd and 3rd place, there's a great deal of tension about. Just imagine, the two back markers, David Hemery and Fons Brijdenbach of Belgium, starting back there, 3.5 laps of the track. Little Mariano Haro of Spain, who finished 4th in the 10,000 metres at Munich, well, he's 15 yards ahead of them there. But the men that matter are on the front line. They 540 metres to run, 3 and a bit laps, and of course they are the key men. Schenk has got his battle with Kjell Isaksson for first place.
But it's difficult to see how Isaksson is going to lose that battle. Really, he's got to fall over. It's doubtful whether he can be caught by these back men. They may well be doing battle for second place, and Schenk will be amongst them. Haro will make his strongest challenge in this, surely, if he can negotiate those difficult barriers. For Kjell Isaksson, who reckoned, after winning this event in his heat, he reckoned he could train and go 10 seconds faster. For Gloria Hemery there, she'll wonder whether David Hemery too will be safe over the barriers. Much closer handicap this time. No 100 metres, just 40 metres. And there's the big four. Malcolm Macdonald is going to trail Isaksson. There's Haro already in the chase. Isaksson must surely have his eyes on Schenk. For him, it's all about Schenk. But for Schenk, he must look over his shoulder and have a look at Haro and, of course, David Hemery coming from the back. Mariano Haro going well. And David Hemery breaking away from Fons Brijdenbach at the back. But look at this man in front. Kuipers it is that's chasing him. Schenk is back in 4th. And look at Haro. Haro's come from way back, 20 metres back and taken the lead. So at last a chance for glory for the little Spaniard who's captured everyone's heart here. He's got enough stamina if he can stay out in front. And Isaksson is not chasing him at the moment. Mariano Haro leads. Oh, and falls! Oh, a disaster for Haro, just when he'd put in the great effort to overtake the rest. Haro falls and goes right back through the field and is back in 4th place. Isaksson senses it, and Haro's in trouble again as he clambers out of the water jump and really struggles in the deep water. Now Isaksson goes away again. Kuipers in 2nd. David Hemery closed the gap and went past Macdonald there in 3rd. And now the chase is on for 1st, 2nd and 3rd place. And David Hemery on the hunt. David Hemery chasing Isaksson. Isaksson sensing it and beginning to accelerate. It really is a battle for 1st place. Hemery going into the water jump first. Hemery is it, and Hemery's gone! A disaster again at the water jump for Hemery. He absolutely clobbered the rail and can't do better. There was only 40 yards to the finish. Isaksson mustn't have known about it, went on to win that, and David Hemery strikes disaster on the water jump again. A good win that for Isaksson. Kuipers very good to finish 2nd, but oh, poor David Hemery, who once again hit the barrier and could only finish 3rd, and that's a pulsating and angry looking ankle that David Hemery's got now. This is the fall, and he's dragged his ankle over, hit the solid rail, and on his face now, pure agony. But being David Hemery, he drags himself up, goes on with the chase, does it intuitively, I'm sure, because that's a very, very painful ankle, which is swelling all the time. Tragedy for David Hemery, doubtful whether he's going to make the victory ceremony, but his courage absolutely pure right to the end. But it means victory, of course, to Kjell Isaksson. But what a race.
And what a competition confirmed. The amateur pole vaulter beats Britain's 400-metre hurdler overall. Then the ice skater and professional superstar beats the racing driver. Macdonald is finally 7th. Then only Schenk, this big blonde Dutchman, could have stopped Isaksson winning the title. And that chance lost over the hurdles and water jumps of the steeplechase. The event, of course, was the one that for Mariano Haro was, I think, so typical of his athletics career. So often robbed of success in the last few seconds. And then even the best of the racing drivers, Jochen, well, even he had to give way, faced with this class of competition. What about Malcolm Macdonald? Well, he's obviously disappointed, but he and we will remember those 100-metre victories for a long time. Mac, the fastest superstar, and now the Ahoy band for the ceremony. In the centrepiece, the trophies, all that the amateurs will win because their prize money goes to the sport they represent. The top prize of 5,000 goes to Swedish athletics. The news of David Hemery is that he's gone to hospital. His leg is not broken. The crowd and the others applaud his 2nd place. They await the champion.
Van de wedstrijd, superstar Isaksson.
The superstar champion Kjell Isaksson of Sweden, the amateur pole vaulter, the 27-year-old physical education teacher, the trophy presented by Dick Button, the man who had success in figure skating in the Olympic Games and has watched the success of this man Isaksson here in the Ahoy Stadium in Rotterdam. The best man from the heats, he says, just a little drop, because of course he's got something more ahead of him. This is the man who goes on to the Olympic Games in Montreal this summer, hoping to take a gold medal in the pole vault. He's taken this title, a competition that's given us people like Schenk. It's taken us from Great Britain to Sweden, Holland, Belgium, back to Great Britain, and then here to Rotterdam. We've seen world champions, world record holders, Olympic gold medalists, European and national title holders. They've come from 16 different sports. We've seen 60 events. Little people like Mariano, Haro, perhaps out of his class, but winning the hearts of all the crowds. But the man who's won the title, of course, and won it well, Kjell Isaksson. Over 60 events, we came here to Rotterdam, and finally it was Isaksson who trailed a little bit at the beginning, suddenly came through at the end. His multi-sport, all-round ability, proving good, beating people like Kuipers and Schenk, beating Macdonald, and of course finally beating Hemery on a last event that produced all the drama that we've seen in any superstar competition. Kjell Isaksson, the first ever European superstar.